What is up, everybody? Drewski here. As you can see, we got a new mic. The only thing that is missing is a mic stand, so that I can comfortably speak on the mic without having to hold it. But it's whatever for now. I wanted to make a quick video, and I wanted to show you how I redesigned three basic landing pages of three cool products, and how I used AI to turn them into something that's more enticing and something that would definitely increase conversions. So my initial idea is that I just launched my own design-powered studio and design agency, basically, which is called Studio Drewski. And in an attempt to showcase more of my recent work or how my expertise can translate into today, because I was working for a couple of years for a gaming company, so I wasn't really able to showcase more of my work. I decided to, instead of waiting for clients to arrive, to basically start searching for very interesting companies out there, and especially for companies that are not really paying, at least for now, attention to their landing pages. And to my surprise, I found three projects that I really find interesting, and they don't really showcase or support the product through their landing pages as much as they could have been. And this is not some sort of critique or some sort of bashing. Uh, I'm just here to be like, wow, these are cool products. Why don't we just showcase them more? And that gives me the chance to also apply my skills, my AI powered workflows, and my design expertise. And the three results that I'm gonna show you are pretty cool, and I would love to hear more of your opinions. So without further ado, the first company that I found is called Nitrode. And what Nitrode is basically a game engine that's powered by AI. And they're using an open source, language called Godot, which lets you build games. Their current landing page is very bare bones, and honestly, it's not really enticing because I'm only seeing some static. I'm only seeing some static images of the actual game engine, and um, yeah, it's not really alive, and the features are kind of out of line. There's not a certain structure or certain layout that is being followed. And especially one of the most important parts, which is for somebody to download the engine, I feel like the button is very discreet, and it's actually trying to hide itself because whenever you hover over it, it actually gets darker. So it's kind of a not very enticing way to add a very important button, actually. So in my head, what I wanted to do here is to give more emphasis on the actual game engine itself and boost the overall branding without altering the main color, which is this dark green emerald. Now I want to show you the demo landing page that I've built based on the current context of Nitrode as a brand. So here's my demo. As you can see, I kept the logo the same. The branding is pretty much the same. Now you are being greeted with the actual demo that's on autoplay from YouTube. And you have the choice of watching the demo online or downloading the launcher. So right away from the jump, you have a way more dynamic and way more alive hero section, which really helps showcase the product in a more dynamic way. After that, I wanted to give more life to this Bando box grid that showcases the functionalities of the game engine. So I actually downloaded the engine myself, and for some areas like the instant asset creation, I actually went ahead and created a Viking warrior. I screen recorded it and I added it as a banner. For the rest of them, I actually built those fun interactive components using Windsurf and Klein AI, and it turned out super cool. So you have a way more alive section here, which you can interact with. Of course, everything is a demo, but it still looks way cooler. You have a cool CTA to join the creative community. It's whatever, to be honest. I just added it as an extra section to pop the areas a bit. And then one of the most important ones, which is the download the game engine. I went ahead and gave all of my attention here, and I created a cool frame where there are a couple of hover over effects that take place. And I also added a cool, let me zoom in a bit. I also added a cool Unicorn Studio animation that I built, which is basically pixelated and interacts slightly with your mouse hovers. It was just an extra addition to give more depth to this cool model. And of course, in the actual working version, this could be your download game engine. And now whenever you hover over it, it gives a more energetic feel, I would say. Of course, the footer is now modernized. I decided to add the number 3 product of the day badge on the footer. Also, you have the social links and a clean logo. So this is my redesign of Nitrode. I hope you guys like it and let me know your thoughts below. But yeah, it's pretty much an attempt of me to make the page more lively and actually show emphasis to the launcher and its capabilities. So this is for Nitrode. So let me close this. Let's go to the next one. The next company that I really enjoyed working and redesigning their landing page was Luminal. I already like the current aesthetic that they present, but I feel like it's kind of a very quick job on basically pasting all of our features, who we are, a quick CTA, and that's it. And to my eyes, it looks vibe coded, which is not a bad thing because I am vibe coding stuff as well. But I feel like we can vibe code this even more and even better. So for Luminal, what I did was I wanted to keep this specific aesthetic alive and get inspired by a terminal-like aesthetic. And I also wanted to give a chance of actually having a logo, because this is just a font mark, basically a text logo. So for Luminal, what I did was the following. Let's view the demo. As you can see, you are being greeted with a cool animation here that basically represents speed. The slogan is inference at the speed of light. And as you can see, it's blinking. It gives this urgency, this sense of speed, reliability, something is fast. And I topped it up with a cool animation I created in Unicorn Studio, once again, that really supports the color scheme and the branding and slightly interacts with your mouse and gives off this cool, elegant pulse feeling all the time. For Luminal, the sections that are followed are basically inspired by the actual landing page that exists. I gave more emphasis on improving the branding and refining it basically without sacrificing this cool, speedy, terminal-like, matrix-like feeling. I also included the very basic details like the GitHub repo or the fact that they are backed by Y Combinator, which is, I guess, important. I actually added a cool CTA to join a waitlist or view the project on GitHub. And as you can see here, whenever you reload the page, this model is actually having a demo here that kind of like an AI model. So these are the main updates for Luminal. And of course, I went ahead and created a custom logo. I didn't really give that much emphasis on the logo because I wanted to focus more on the landing page. But here's how the logo looks. My idea was to use a monospaced font mark. I adjusted the eye a bit to look more like a slash command kind of reference here to development, coding, engineering. And then I went with a very, very simple logo mark L letter that has a very slight and very sharp curve here, and generally a very sharp logo that's slightly slanted to showcase speed and modernity and all of those cool buzzwords. So this is Luminal. Again, I did basically facelift and give more personality to the product. That's pretty much it. So yeah, this was number 2. And then number 3, which was one of the most interesting ones, I would say, is SendEye, which, based on my research, is a very, very interesting company because they're using some sort of insect intelligence to create visual systems for drones. I don't even know. Sounds crazy. But as you can see, the landing page is very, very underdeveloped at the moment. I guess those people are way too busy being extremely smart, I believe, as you can see. So I think this was one of the best challenges that I really, really enjoyed working on. And I did the most work just because you have so much free reign to approach this concept in so many ways. So in my head, what I wanted to capture here is the whole inspired by insects, but we are a company that is deeply tied to high intelligence systems, visual systems. So I wanted to showcase this very highly technical identity. So here's what I did for this demo. Here we are. Let's view the demo. As you can see, I changed completely how the landing page looks. What I kept real is the actual colorways. As you can see, they are using this sort of rose color scheme. I went ahead and made it more purple, more orangey, just because I wanted some better contrast ratios. And yeah, here's the landing page if you're visiting on light mode, which is a very, very clear landing page. As you can see, I mimicked some of the images that SendEye is using here. And here they wanted to showcase their chips and their drones in comparison to an actual human palm. So what I did to basically improve this, I was like, why not create some sort of technical drawing depiction here? So I designed this to dust outlined palm graphics, and I added the drone and the chip on top of it just to showcase the actual scale of those two items. For the next section, which was the Internet of Things, as you can see here, this system is basically counting the cars that are passing on this road, which is actually super cool with like visual intelligence, probably. And what I did here was that I recreated this whole scheme, let's say, in a more animated way, in a more technical drawing-like way. So I'm showcasing things like, oh, this is one of our targets. It has been counted to our like systems. Here's how the system looks like. I made everything look more technical, more intentional as well. And I feel like it looked amazing. And also here about the vision chips, you can see here that there's a comparison to an actual dime. And what I did was I cleaned this up, and I wanted to showcase this scale of how small their chips are compared to a dime in a more clean way, which I love a lot. Then I just added a couple of extra sections that are derived from their actual page and other sub-pages to support the whole idea more. Now, the cool thing is that on dark mode, because it just looks way more high-tech to me, I wanted to add a couple of extra Easter eggs, let's say. So for starters, if you load the page on dark mode, you will see that in the first section, you get this cool hover over effect that follows your cursor. I just wanted to add a sense of high techiness. There's also some sort of fog that's going on. If you visit the demo yourselves, it will be more visible. And the more you go down, you have some slight hover over effects. And as you can see, those images are actually two versions, one for the light mode and one for the dark mode. So whenever you switch on them, they are appropriately switching. To be honest, I'm thinking if this would look better as a white fill on the dark mode, but it's not a big deal for now. I might need to add more shadows, probably. Here's again our cool size comparison here. So as you can understand, and of course the footer has this cool effect also, just to support this very interesting company actually. So as you can see here, I did a ton of changes to the landing page. This is basically how I would envision the company if I was to rebrand this. I also did a change to the logo. I went for a very similar approach to what their actual logo was. Let me show you the logo. So here's the Sent I logo. I believe that's their current logo. And my approach was to basically keep this dot, which represents an eye, an iris, I guess, and use it in order to enhance and utilize our cool letter C. So I made a font mark using the letter C, and then I added this iris in the middle. Technically, I would say that I can definitely dive deeper into the logo process of things, of course. I just didn't want to waste time perfecting it because my goal was to target the landing page aspect of things. So these are my three landing page redesigns. So how I did this, I honestly followed the most simple way possible to achieve that, and that was by just using Manus as my researcher and as my initial landing page builder. And then after that, it was just me using either Windsurf or Klein AI, and of course Figma to like refine some UI, showcase some things to the AI to code it better, etc., etc. So the flow is very simple. I just opened Manus, and the first thing that I did was explain my idea, was to recreate those landing pages. We did a ton of research, and it was actually difficult to make Manus understand what a bad landing page would look like. So first, I educated Manus on what a bad landing page looks like. Then I asked him to research and give me a list of 100 URLs that it found that, based on the criteria that I gave, can actually land as a quote-unquote bad landing page. Was it accurate? No. The majority of websites were actually very highly refined, very opinionated brands that didn't really need refinements. But a good chunk of them really shows that they are startups that are just started, or they are literally focusing on more important things than a flashy landing page. So that's definitely, I'm not undermining landing pages, of course. I just don't want to sound mean-spirited. I just love designing. Anyways, so yeah, this is the initial part. This is the research part. Then I found those three companies, which were very cool. I also find other companies that I wasn't really aligned with. I wasn't really vibing with whatever they were. You can literally find, I don't know, plumbing companies that you can do that with. But I just don't find any interest in plumbing. I find interest in technology, Web3, gaming, AI. I like aviation. I like those like gadgety stuff. So this is why I chose a game engine. This is why I chose an AI related product. And this is why I chose a super high tech product. Now, how I actually refined the styles, I actually just did a back and forth with Manus on that. And I was like, here are my initial ideas as a designer of how, for example, Nitrot should look like. After that, I just asked Manus to basically scout what the top companies on gaming or AI game engines or any of these niches are doing, and they are actually successful with. Manus gave out some sort of results, and then based on my own understanding and manual research, I actually started like spotting some cool UI stuff, and I was like, okay, based on my idea of how Nitrot wants to look, which is XYZ, here are a couple of ideas that I like from, example, Epic Games Launcher. Just an example. Here are why this section of their landing page is cool, and here's why we can also utilize this approach, XYZ. For example, having a landing page where you have an autoplay video of your launcher is a very common practice. So it should have been in. And this way is how I basically started structuring the whole approach. And then after a point where I was certain that Manus can now build a foundation that will look exactly how I had it in mind, then I just hit send and I was like, okay, let's start the first build. Let's use Next.js and React or whatever the tech stack should be. And let's create an MVP. I would say that with those three companies, Manus did an excellent job at giving me an about 70% of a good starting point. Then what I did was I dropped everything inside Windsurf and Klein AI, and then I literally just went ahead section by section, refining everything and making it more relatable to the actual brands themselves. Especially with Sendai, which was the most amount of work that I did because I just found the project interesting. As you can see, I was literally building those elements manually inside Figma. I was dropping them inside my code base, and I was asking Klein to appropriately add all of those sections. For example, here's how the page looked. Not even with Manus. I think this is after some refinements inside Klein AI. As you can see, there are no images, there are a lot of customizations. It's a very bare bones, basic build. So this is what Manus does well. It really can get you to a point close to that, but then you will have a fully refined page if you actually do some manual work, do some manual critical design decisions that you know that they make sense and stick to them. And what else? That's what I did, honestly. The majority of things that went wrong are usually things like the AI not recognizing which sections to tackle properly. But other than that, it was pretty efficient with simple natural language, and I didn't really have a ton of hiccups. So yeah, this was the workflow basically. Me chatting with Manus, finalizing the brand identity, and then just hitting go, and Manus did a great job at about 70%, and then I came around to refine everything and take it to 100. So the main message that I want to give from this video is that it's actually pretty cool that my workflows worked. I mean, everything is subjective. You might not like the landing pages, and that's fine by me, but they're definitely a step up from the current designs. You cannot take that away. And it really establishes that the AI workflows that I'm following, they work perfectly. And I literally did this, I feel like in a matter of 7 hours, I believe. I built everything. If I actually add up all the hours, 7 to 8 hours, pretty much, which is crazy. Imagine that if I spent 3 to 4 hours on a landing page redesign, I can definitely easily build the whole page in 1 to 2 weeks, probably. So you can see that the speeds are immense, and the workflows are here, and they are definitely working. So yeah, this is pretty much it. I just wanted to share my little story. I actually went ahead and sent a couple of DMs to those brands. Honestly, if they mind it, I can just swap the names and keep the designs to myself to showcase in my portfolio. But yeah, other than that, I highly encourage you to join my school community, which is called AI Design Club. It's a free community, and we have already designers, engineers, builders, marketeers inside, and we just crossed 500 members, as I can see, which is awesome. So I definitely advise you to join that. And if you want to personally get in touch with me, either because you're a client or another designer that needs help, I just launched my design studio, which is called Studio Drewski, studiodrewski.com. You can definitely check this out and book a call with me to either explore any project that you need assistance on, or if you're a designer, ways that you can improve your workflow. So without further ado, see you in the next one, guys. Peace.